I know you're probably feeling helpless right now, feeling hopeless, feeling a huge amount of despair because your husband or partner has cheated on you. And I get it. I feel your pain so much. And that's why in today's video, I'm going to explain to you 5 really important steps you need to take right now in order to heal from this extreme pain that you're going through. Now, before I dive in, I want you to make sure that you've got access to the best resources that you possibly can to move through this journey of yours. So make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell notification as well, so every week you get access to my latest videos where I can talk you through a little bit more about what you can do to heal from this really difficult situation you're in right now, potentially go about saving your marriage, and also just becoming the very best version of yourself. Now, when someone's gone through infidelity, because there is such a deep level of pain and a deep level of trauma through this experience, often people are having such scrambled heads, not sure what steps to take. Do you work on the marriage? Do you try and reconcile, or do you just walk away? And even if you think, look, I'm just going to give it up, I'm just going to forget about him and just move on, it's easier said than done, right? I know lots of people who have just said, there's no way I'm going to be with someone who's a cheater. And then they get cheated on and they find it so hard to be able to walk away from that particular person, because it's often the deeper wounds that are present inside of us that force us to cling on to the very thing that often creates the most pain. But that's why we've got to go deeper. That's why we've got to really create healing at a level that's actually going to be sustainable over a period of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you 5 really important steps you need to take to really expedite that healing process. Now, the first step is to make sure you understand the impact. It's not just about your partner going off and hooking up with someone else. What it's effectively doing at a deeper level is that it's making you feel deep wounds around feeling unloved, feeling unworthy, feeling abandoned, feeling rejected, and feeling completely inadequate. As a child, when we come into this world, we are pure love, but we're guaranteed that love, generally speaking, from our parents. That's who we look to for providing us with that level of emotional safety and physical safety as well. But that emotional safety is really, really important. And then as we get older, we hopefully have developed a sense of safety, but for a lot of people, they haven't got that. They were often in environments where they were criticized and teased and bullied and experienced a lot of trauma. And so what that has meant is that for those individuals, that safety net is not there. So what we do in relationships, we often look to another person to provide us with that safety and to provide us with that comfort blanket where we feel, hey, we are enough, we are lovable, we are worthy of love, and so on. But then if your husband goes off and engages in infidelity, that sense of safety that you've had for a period of time is being stripped away from you. It's the rug's being pulled from underneath you. So suddenly what happens is the deeper aspect of you, the deeper inner child, if you like, feels like you're unable to survive. So there is such a deep level of trauma for a lot of people. And look, naturally, each person has a slightly different experience. Some people, it's more painful than for others, depending on the level of wounds that you're dealing with. But it's important to understand the impact and not to, replay it in your head and, attach yourself to this narrative. It's just about having awareness. And I always believe that the first step in any transformation is awareness, because then we can sort of mentally understand and interpret the situation, and then we can start to move forward and actually heal. But if we don't know what we're actually healing, what we do is that we end up just dealing with the surface level problems. We try and cling on to that person. We hope to hell that they're actually going to come back to us and give us another chance. But you can get another chance, but in all likelihood, the same things might occur in the future because we're not dealing with the root cause. And fundamentally, this is about making sure that you heal and ultimately become the best version of you. Second step is to make sure you navigate the roller coaster of emotions you're going to go through and are going through. Once again, if this is hitting you at the very core of who you are, you're going to be feeling some deep-rooted emotions around betrayal, abandonment, rejection, and so on. And what most people do is suppress those emotions. They shove them down and get more caught up in the actual actions that they feel like they need to take. What do I say to him? What do I message him? I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to try and get him back. I need to doll myself up and look a certain way, or, engage in superficial physical actions rather than engaging in understanding the emotional impact that it's had and being able to heal those emotions. And you've got to give yourself the opportunity to work your way through the emotions. And what I'd actually encourage you to do is take some time every night and actually just journal down, okay, what are the core emotions that I'm actually dealing with? What's coming up for me at the moment on a regular basis throughout the day? Am I feeling jealousy? Am I feeling that sense of abandonment where I feel like someone's, just completely just pulled away from me and I don't feel that sense of safety anymore? Do I feel completely inadequate? And so on. Understand those emotions is really important, and then giving yourself the opportunity to just accept them, to allow them to be, not act on them, but just allow yourself to just feel those emotions and be present with them. Because if you just try and bury them, or you distract yourself with other things or with work, they're going to come up at some point and you won't actually be able to heal them. Now, we also want to go even deeper with that, but for the purposes of this video, I just want to try and keep it really simple. And if you do want to go a little bit deeper on this front, then I'd encourage you in the description section below, just click on that link which just says book a call with me, and you can click on that link and I can explain to you a little bit more about how I can support you in going into those level of depths if that's something that you're actually wanting to do. And I know it's scary, but it's something that has to be done. You either deal with it now or you deal with it in a year or 2 years. It has to be done. Processing emotions and working your way and healing them is absolutely crucial on this journey that you're on. So give yourself that chance to journal them down and allow yourself to have that experience of those emotions, and really more from a physical perspective. What's the sensations that are coming up inside of me, and allowing myself to work through my way through that. The third step is all around the healing power of forgiveness. See, here is this man who has gone off and has done what he's done, and it's crushed you at your very core. And in all likelihood, there's going to be a big part of you that's going to want to just, get back at him. Fire as many emotional bullets at him so that he can feel the kind of pain that you're going through right now. And I get it. That's a natural human instinct. Revenge, retribution on some level, that is sort of an instinct that we have. The problem is, though, is that we have to ask ourselves, what is the intent behind it? And a lot of the time it's to inflict harm. And if it's to inflict harm, then we're coming from fear. And if we're coming from fear, then that's actually not going to make us feel good on any level. It may give us the illusion that it's going to make us feel good. But when we get that retribution or that revenge on some level, then we're back to square one again. And it's, how do we actually move forward? How do we heal? How do we grow? And I can tell you right now, even earlier this week, I had a client of mine who ripped me off. And after the initial emotion that came up, I had to remember and remind myself, hang on, what is it that I always talk about? And it's about forgiveness. And it's about true healing. And I'm not going to allow my heart to bubble up like a volcano and explode, because at the end of the day, if all I have is resentment and bitterness and anger towards that person, the only person that's actually suffering is me. And I value myself enough to recognize I don't want to inflict that sort of pain on me. So what did I do? I sent love, I sent light, and I sent forgiveness. And that was all I did. I sent from an energetic perspective, I made sure I sent her my good wishes and sent her healing. And at the end of the day, as Mother Teresa said, in the final analysis, it's actually between you and your God or your Creator or whatever you choose to believe in. It was never between you and them anyway. And that's why we've got to step into that energy of forgiveness, because if you forgive, you're not doing it for the other person. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for your own healing. And at the end of the day, when people go off and engage in these sorts of behaviors, it's because they're deviating from love on some level, for whatever reason. And even if we're talking about the narcissists and sociopaths or whatever, that's their defense mechanisms that they utilize to try and meet their own narcissistic needs and sociopathic needs and so on. But these are habits that are developed over time for whatever reason. And so the most important thing is that you're able to forgive. And like I say, not for them, but for you. And the fourth step is making sure that you're rebuilding trust. And it's not necessarily about trust with your husband or partner. It's more about trust in your own self. You see, when you've actually been treated like the way you have been, there's a good chance it's going to dent your confidence completely. It's going to make you feel like, look, I've invested all this time and all this energy into this man, and it all just feels like a complete lie now. He used to tell me how much he loved me, and now he goes off and does this. Like, it can really shake your confidence completely. But we've got to remind ourselves that those past experiences don't have to equal the future. And this is where I actually think it's important to take a level of ownership in terms of, certain decisions that you may have made and so on. And not so much around the actions that he took, but a lot of the time when I speak to my clients, they'll tell me that, looking back, there was a whole bunch of red flags, but they chose to overlook them. And because they overlooked them, they wanted to just sort of sweep it under the rug and hope that things would actually improve. But the point is that your intuition was actually guiding you at that point. It was actually telling you, hey, look, something's not quite right here. Something doesn't feel right. So you've got that intuition. You've got that part of you that can identify when there are potential problems. It's about just learning to trust in that. And in those moments, a lot of people don't trust in it because they don't want to lose that person. They don't want to bring up the tough conversations. They're uncomfortable about it. So we push it to the side. And I get that. But the thing was that your intuition never let you down. It actually was guiding you. But it's often that our ego comes in there and questions it and not sure and don't want to stir the pot and so on. But it's about recognizing it was there. So it's never leaving you. 99% of the time our instincts are correct as long as we're making decisions from our heart and we're connecting in with that heart. So often people can confuse what's coming up in their head and what's coming up in their heart and thinking, oh, I've got to listen to my head. But it's actually our heart that can guide us. But that only happens when we have clarity, when we're at peace. That's when our heart can guide us. If we're stressed out and we're anxious and there's a part of us like, oh, I've got a bad feeling about this, that's actually not necessarily our heart guiding us. That's our fears and our insecurities and so on guiding us. But if you give yourself a chance to sort of step back, maybe meditate a little bit and so on, to get yourself into a calmer place, then your heart can guide you. But it's about rebuilding that trust in your own self and knowing that you're always being guided, that you always have that little part of you that knows the answer and it will never ever be taken away from you. You've always got it. It's just about reconnecting with that part of you and trusting in that. When you do that, then you'll know the steps that you need to take. You'll know the decisions that you need to make on this path that you're on. And whether that's, I want to give this a go, or no, I want to walk away. You will be guided. And finally, you've got to make sure you engage in lots of self-care and lots of personal growth work. It is absolutely crucial. The solution to all of our challenges in life come from shifts on the inside. I know it's frustrating sometimes to have to think about that, because as human beings, we want to put it on other people. We want to blame other people for why we're being treated in a certain way or why nothing seems to ever work out for us and so on. But actually, we are the creators of our own universe. We've got to remember that. And what that does is it steps us into a state of empowerment, because we can then recognize, okay, well, if this has been created, I can also create all of this other magnificent stuff. Personal growth is not easy. It can sometimes be a little bit challenging. Sometimes we discover things that we're uncomfortable with. Sometimes we hear things on these videos and so on that we're uncomfortable with. But I promise you that the solution, the answer to it all, is down to self-care, self-healing, and that's how we go about real transformation. And that's what can actually result in the changing of our external world by a shift in our internal. And whether that's we start to manifest different experiences, or we shift our perception of what's actually going on in the external as well. Either way, it's going to help you to move forward and make the best decisions possible. So self-care, whether that's, doing meditation, engaging in, physical activity like going to the gym and so on, obviously is very, very important. Going for walks in nature, you know, various other techniques around personal development, spiritual growth, prayer. All of that stuff is very, very important. You've got to engage in it. It's the key to it all. And look, I understand sometimes it can be a little bit challenging around, you know, what steps do you need to take. And so if you do connect with some of my videos, if you resonate with what I'm talking about, and you want to go a bit deeper, and not just the surface level stuff, but you're really wanting to create massive transformation in the long run, then I'd love to support you through my program, the Authentic Relationship System, which is an amazing program. We go deep. If you're someone that is really, really committed to transformation, and is someone that wants to go into the depths of themselves, particularly if you've had to go through some form of trauma or, you know, difficulties in your marriage and so on, then this is going to be the right service for you. So what I encourage you to do is, in the description section below, there's a link that just says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you just so I can get to know you a little bit more about you as a person, what you're going through, the challenges that you're facing and so on, and how I can look to support you on this path, and whether the Authentic Relationship System is going to be a good fit for you. So once again, click on that link. I can't wait to speak to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, make sure you hit that like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And do let me know if you've got any questions or comments or takeaways or anything like that. Just write them below and I'll make sure I respond to every single one of you. And if you put a lot of time and energy into your healing and you are wanting to go down the path of saving your marriage, then I'd encourage you to just watch this video above. So it walks you through a few steps that you can take right now. Thank you so much. God bless, and I'll talk to you in the next video.